So smooth and powerful. They've got a 10 bearing system and an aluminium body, which makes them super strong. It's another nice hybrid. Another great advantage of the reels is they've got a high speed retrieve of 6.2 to 1. So they're absolutely great when you're fishing like this up in the water and casting and retrieving a lot all day. They really make the job much easier. Oh, that feels like another bed of fish. And after so many tough sessions through the winter, I'm absolutely loving having a bite and a fish a chuck like this, and also not quite knowing what I'm going to hook next. I think this could be a chub. It is. Always got a distinctive fight. He was trying to snag me up down the side. I definitely fooled him. I'd hooked him right down. He's not massive, but I guess he's probably just under a pound. So we really are getting the classic mixed bag today. It's brilliant fun. Well, that feels like another one of those nice eyed. Again, I'd tried some different depths and shallowed back down to just a foot in depth, and it's done the trick. Such an interesting fish. Almost like a cross between a dace and a chub. Makes a great change catching eyed. Here's a quick tip for you. When I'm fishing with casters, I never like to get them all out and put them all in my bait box, and I also don't like to submerge them in water. I prefer to leave them out so that they're nice and dry and crispy. But obviously if I was to do that at the beginning, then they'd all probably start to turn. So I just like to take them out in small amounts and leave the rest tied up in the bag. Well, here's a great tip for when you're catching up in the water. It's actually side hooking the maggot like that. You can see I've just nicked it in the side so the maggot hasn't burst, it's still really active. But it definitely seems to hit more bites when you're getting fast biting fish fishing up in the water. Well, even though I'm catching really well on the shallow waggler, I'm going to give the heavier waggler another go and fish on the bottom. The wind's got up and it'll give me a good chance to explain how I fished this float at the start of the session. See, when you're fishing a waggler, you've got to select the right size to fish the depth and the conditions that you're faced with. And this is a 3.5 gram loaded waggler, and it casts really well into the wind. But it's also got enough weight to hold in position, it's not being affected too much by the wind. If I was fishing a much lighter waggler and a shorter waggler, I'd really struggle to present the bait correctly. The float would get moved by the wind and the tow and would act very unnaturally. So this float's stopping exactly where I want. And what I'm doing is, oh, that was a bite. I don't think it's any better, but it does prove that there's some fish still feeding on the bottom. So the way I'm fishing it is a bit like on the shallow waggler. I'm casting past the feed. I've actually got the line clipped up so that I'm fixing the distance that I'm casting every time. And then I'm sinking the line to bring the float back into position. And obviously sinking the line is really important, especially when you've got a strong wind like this. It just keeps the line under the water and again helps to keep the float still. And the rig I'm using today on this deeper waggler is more positive than the shallow waggler in terms of the shot. I've got 3 number 8s that are spread out and they're enabling me to get the bait down to the bottom and also register the bites really well like that, because you can watch the number 8 settle on the insert. I do really love these Drennan floats because of the fact that you can change the tip. I think they call them a glow tip, and they do show up really well, especially on days like this where you've got that very dappled effect with the ripple and the different colours of water. They really do show up well. So I think I'll give this a couple more casts, see if I can pick up a better fish, and if it doesn't work I shall go back onto the shallow waggler. Main line on both the wagglers is 3 pound Pro Gold, which has a diameter of 0.17 millimeter. So it's a great reel line and it's a great diameter because it means I can cast the floats easily, I can cast them a long distance if needed, but they're also strong enough to pretty much catch most fish that I'm likely to encounter today. Just means I've got balanced tackle and I'm maximising the efficiency of the reel line. Well, this feels a bit different, and if I'm not mistaken it might be a crucian, and it is. Look at that, brilliant. That's the first crucian I've had this year. They're always like a character to me, the way they come in head banging like that, they never give up, and he's fighting with me in the net as well. But look at him, he's absolutely beautiful in that sun, lovely golden colour. Well, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that I've been feeding a inside line just to my left, which is something I always like to do when I'm lake fishing. And I've just had a quick drop down with a piece of corn, and I've had another crucian, so I'm going to give this a bit more time now. It'd be great if I could catch some more of his family. Well, what I decided to do, obviously I had my main line that I was fishing on the waggler probably about 15-16 metres out, but I've been loose feeding down the side here. But rather than doing it little and often, I've actually been quite brave. I've been putting in a good amount of maggots, but less often. So it was a bit of a gamble really, but it was just a throwaway line. I'm quite surprised really, because I didn't expect to catch so close, given that we're only just in the early spring time, but you never want to ignore the margins when you're lake fishing. I've also been just throwing a few grains of corn in, and I've changed my hook and hook length that I was fishing further out with that small insert waggler. I've gone straight through on the 3 pound line, and I'm fishing a size 16 hook. So I just wanted to be careful, not fish too fine in case I did hook a better bonus fish like a tench or a carp. Well, I know from Chappie that there is some big bonus fish in here. There's carp into double figures and tench up to 6 pound. When you're fishing in the margins like this and there's a chance of a big fish, a big bonus fish, I always like to slacken my drag on the reel. So if I do latch into a bigger fish, the drag will kick in and enable me to play the fish effectively. Everything's so at such close quarters, you've got to be so careful if you do hook a bigger fish. Well, everything's feeding down there now. I've had a nice skimmer and another decent roach. I think I'll really up the feed now and just see if we can get a decent bonus fish to finish on. Well, that's definitely another crucian. I've had 3 or 4 now, just close in on corn. Absolutely brilliant. Well, look at him. Another beautiful crucian. Well, spring's definitely sprung. We've had an absolutely fantastic day today. I've enjoyed it so much, catching a mixed bag of fish. Well, that's another crucian. I've had 4 or 5 of these crucians now, just right down the side in the margins, fishing with a single piece of corn. I think I'm going to make that the last fish.